Hi, Dr. Stacey Ellis here, clinical psychologist. So if you read the heading for this video today, you are probably thinking those three little words are, I love you. You would be incorrect. The three little words I'm speaking of are, I'm sorry. I am sorry. What does that bring up for you when you hear that? A little pit in your stomach? It's really interesting that we have a high value around teaching our children to say sorry after they have a misstep. Yet that doesn't translate into adulthood, whether it's cutting someone off on the road and you yell at them or flip them off, or you get defensive with your partner when they call you out for the 50th time for leaving the toilet seat up, or whether it's a bigger issue. We have a hard time as adults saying I'm sorry. So what is that about? If we actually look about what that means as a value, it's admitting fault. It's actually saying, yes, I made a mistake. And we have this pressure in our society that we need to be perfect. We need to do things correctly. And when we don't, we have this shame and guilt that comes up around it. And oftentimes, not saying I'm sorry isn't so much about the other person, it's about our relationship to ourselves and not being willing to admit that we didn't do something right. But on the flip side of that, then we have all this pressure that we have to do things perfectly. So we put ourselves in this situation where we become shame-based every time we make a mistake. So I want to present an opportunity to shift that paradigm. What if we neutralized making mistakes? If you really think about it, mistakes are inevitable, just like change, just like conflict, because we're different human beings and we're not always going to get each other, and just like death. So what if it was, okay, I'm okay with making mistakes, but I'm going to be a rock star on the back end of my mistakes. I'm going to own them. I'm going to apologize for them and make the indicated changes. So when you shift your commitment to, I'm going to be a rock star on the back end of my mistakes versus I'm going to dig my heels in and not own my mistakes, what you're actually doing is when you specifically and genuinely apologize for your faults and where you went wrong, it actually builds a bridge. It builds a connection with that other person. It also gives them permission that they can make mistakes too. Because when we have an expectation in our relationships that we're going to be perfect or the other person's going to be perfect, when someone makes a mistake, it's catastrophic. And it actually doesn't need to be. What someone's actually looking for is, do you understand me? Do you get why that was hurtful for me or why that didn't feel good? They're looking for that piece. They're looking to be seen, heard, understood, and validated. And when we can do that for each other and we can get to that quickly, it's a really, really powerful tool in our relationships. So my invitation for you this holiday season is not just for the integrity of your relationships, but for your personal integrity. I've apologized for things that people didn't even realize was an issue, but it was out of integrity with myself. So I apologized anyway. So the invitation this holiday season is for you to take time and figure out, was I less than perfect in this relationship? Might I have hurt this person? Is there an area where I can build a bridge or I can act first? Oftentimes we're waiting out the other person. Well, I need them to apologize so that I can feel better or I can feel safe. Safety does not come from that person. It comes from yourself. It comes from within. It comes from the way that you set your boundaries and the way you approach your relationships. So I'm going to encourage you this holiday season, not just to say I love you, but to say I'm sorry to those that really need to hear it from you. And it might actually be yourself.